keep it real with ya.
Okay. Hey guys, it's me, Minu. Back another video. Happy Sunday. I be forgetting that these go up on Sunday. I usually, in an ideal world, I would record these like a week or two in advance because I get demonetized immediately and it takes time to fight that. But I'm gonna be honest, most of the time I do it like the day before. So that's why I don't make no money from the channel. Sadie's on my lap. I don't know where Morticia is right now, but she's somewhere. I got a new microphone. Let's see. No, Sadie, don't bite me. This is super fancy. I got it from Amazon. Somebody who does podcasts told me about it. No, I'm wearing my shirt. You are so, oh, hold on. You are so beautiful. Have a good day. With my skulls and stuff on it. Also, my allergies are really, really bad because I'm going to a new allergist in a new city and I am not allowed to take antihistamines for like 5 days, which means including the day I go to the doctor, I will not take antihistamines for like 6 days. I am hoping to get on allergy shots because I'm dying. And apparently where I live, allergens are even worse. Nobody told me that. So, yeah. So hopefully I can get on the allergy shots. They say it takes about a year to start feeling like the full effect. I also found out through some trial and error and talking to other people online that eating foods that you're intolerant to, even if you're not allergic to them, fucks with your allergies. Even if you take digestive enzymes, which helps your stomach digest them, it still fucks with your allergies. And I'm mad because I ate like a few bites of a funnel cake a week ago. And I hadn't had a funnel cake in so many years. I was like, man, I can't get that gluten free. So I ate a few bites of a funnel cake, like a corner. I brought it home because I had to save it because I couldn't eat it all. And my allergies were so bad the next few days. Like I was literally I took an antihistamine at night. In the morning, I was doing nasal sprays throughout the day. I was taking Singulair, like everything, and nothing was working. I was dying, and I couldn't sleep because my sinuses were so clogged. And it's like weird because it's like you can try to breathe through your mouth. I don't sleep with my mouth open, so that's one thing. It's just a no for me. But just being awake, you could try to breathe through your mouth. But I had so much like stuff, like my nose was stuffy, my throat was stuffy, and so even breathing was hard. And trying to eat while also trying to breathe through your mouth does not work. So I was like, fuck this. I gotta go get on these allergy shots yesterday. And I wish that I got on them when I first got Sadie because then I would have been like 2 years into them and I would have, I would be seeing the benefit of it. But I guess that's Sadie in 2022. I got her in 2020. It's 2023. So I would have been 3 years into allergy shots. My only reason that I didn't was because I kept changing jobs, which meant I kept losing my insurance. And if my insurance kept changing, then that meant that the price of the shots was going to constantly change as well. And even at the time that they told me about it, it was going to be like $60 a shot and they wanted me to do 2 shots a week. No, they wanted me to do like 4 shots a week. And then it was going to be so much for the shot itself, but then it was going to be so much to actually have someone else give you the shot. And that was on insurance at the time. And I knew my insurance was going to change because I was changing jobs. And I was like, oh, no. And now I'm at the new job and I'm on a new health insurance. And I don't know how much it's going to cost, but from what I've heard is that I have to go into the office every single time to get the shot. Because the new health insurance the new health insurance company doesn't allow you to give yourself the shot. So I can't do no 4 shots a week if you need me to come in every single time I make the shot. So we're gonna have to work something out. But I have to get tested again because it's a new doctor and it's also been 3 years since my last allergy test. My allergies might have gotten worse. And so I just need to be retested to be sure that when I do the shots, they give me everything I need. Yeah, but that's what happened with that. And that's why I'm like sniffing and I look like drowsy and all that because it's just hard. Did I stop taking them last night or the day before? Yeah, so I'm on my second day of not having antihistamines and I'm already just like Like I woke up in the middle of the night to go in the bathroom and like blow my nose because everything was just so stuffy. It's terrible. Okay, moving on from that. I want to talk about today because my other videos that I have planned, I have 4 of them right now that hopefully I can cut down, but I probably can't. I'm gonna have to delay them for a minute. So I had to make a new video today. I didn't want to. I wanted to do wash day. I wanted to do take my hair down. Oh no, what happened to this one? No, what's wrong with you? Oh, you want to go that way? I wanted to do take my hair down and wash it day. And then maybe go to the grocery store or something. But I have to record videos. So okay, now this is going to be bothering me. So what I want to talk about today that I thought was really interesting that I want to share with you guys is that I actually did an interview on asexuality for a research study that's being done. Now, this is this person's like PhD dissertation. Bye, Sadie. And they've decided to do a research study on asexuality, people of color, asexual people of color, and community building, and all of that stuff. And so they kind of reached out. They're not asexual. They're not a person of color. But I mean, I feel like sometimes it just takes a very empathetic white person to do something because, I mean, who else was doing it? But if you guys do know people of color who are doing a PhD and want to talk about asexual people of color, by all means, let me know. Send them my way. But this was a white person who was not asexual, but they wanted to do it because they were very interested in the asexual community and they wanted to learn about it and they wanted to learn about people of color's experiences. And the overarching theme was, you know, how we felt about the asexual community. And so I was like, hey, message me. I'm ready. I'm down. Do a video interview. So we did a video interview. It took about 2 hours. And some of the questions were very interesting. And they sent me the question beforehand. But some of the questions they asked me were things about, you know, like the area that I live in and how being in the South impacts, you know, your asexual representation or whether or not you even knew what asexuality was. They asked me about how I felt being Black impacted it. They asked me about how I felt being autistic impacted it. And I don't have the copy of the recording, and I don't know if that recording will ever be public. But I tried to do the best I could to kind of like represent the community and tell them about like the things that I struggle with. So some of the things, if you've only been here for the past year, I think that's when the asexual discourse video came out. You probably have not seen my videos on how I discovered that I was asexual. But basically, I grew up, in the South, Baptist Christian, Black woman, a lot of intersections there, undiagnosed autistic, a lot of intersections there, secretly, sometimes not secretly, an atheist. That's a lot of intersections there. And, for me, my family always thought I was a lesbian because I was more masculine. I got along better with boys, which I don't even know if I want to say I got along better. I have to say the boys liked me for the wrong reasons, but I got along better with boys. I was masculine. I didn't like dresses. I didn't like makeup. I didn't like skirts. I remember in my elementary school graduation, my mother forced me to wear a skirt, and it was this weird, like, boxy church skirt. And she forced me to wear that to where I had to walk across the stage wearing that. And I had never worn a skirt before. And she was like, you're going to wear a skirt because that's what I want to see you in. And it was horrible. And I was very upset. And I even cried because I felt embarrassed and humiliated wearing a skirt. It didn't even fit me right. But it was this thing is like I was not feminine. And so most people just thought either I was a lesbian or I had a fetish for Asian men because I was into anime. Or they thought I had a fetish for Asian men and that when I met an Asian man, I would have no problem like sleeping with them. That was kind of an understanding of some of my family members. From the male family members' perspective, because young black girls are so hypersexualized, there was this appreciation that I wasn't like none of them fast little girls running around doing whatever with the boys. I stayed in the house. I wasn't running in the streets, and I think now that I think about it, as I'm talking about this, it was very offensive to my older sister. Because my older sister technically was that. Like, she was popular with guys. They took her on dates. They bought her things. She was sexually active. Like, she had no problem looking cute, going downtown, going to the clubs. Like, now I think about it, like, y'all was disrespectful to her. Like, and there was a lot of politics of respectability. Obviously, when you think about being in the South, you think about in the church. There was a lot of misogynoir in terms of hypersexualizing young black girls. And it was considered a good thing that I wasn't like them. And I even internalized that to a certain point because I was not accepted in school and I had so much trouble socializing. I internalized what the adults were saying, that somehow I was better than them. Hello, purity culture. Somehow I was better than them because I was not having sex. I was not kissing, and in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to get any diseases. I'm not going to get pregnant. I'm never going to get in trouble. I'm not going to have those situations where I saw girls, trying to have a boyfriend, but then the boy always cheating on them with some other girl who wanted them to be their boyfriend. All of that drama was not something that I had to deal with. And looking back now, I know it's because I was autistic and I was asexual, but not knowing any of that at the time, most people, even in school, thought I was just celibate. They thought I was like churchy and I was celibate. And then when they realized I was an atheist, they were extra mad at me because they was like, "Fuck's wrong with you? God is obviously real. What? Ew." And then it was like, okay, you're just shy then. But if a guy asks you out, you're obviously gonna jump at the opportunity because I wasn't popular. So I'd had situations where guys would ask me out and I'd be like, no. And everybody would get involved and they'd be like, you turn down him? You know what I mean? Like, and it was like, you shouldn't turn down any guy that asks you out because look at you and then look at him. I was the bottom of the totem pole. So a guy asking me out, any other person would think, oh, this is amazing. And I thought, I saw you cheat on your last 3 girlfriends. I don't want to go out with you. Yeah, but that was something that I struggled with out of school. And then there was also the part of, going through middle school, going through high school, when everybody was like figuring themselves out sexually and everybody was experimenting and doing all this stuff. I wasn't doing any of that. I didn't care about any of that. Like I was big on hugs. I like to give people hugs. People that I like to give them hugs. And if I didn't like to give you hugs, I would like to say hey to you and like speak to you when I saw you in the hallway. And that was kind of like the extent of what I was doing with people. But it was just a lot of like this weird hypersexual tension in the air where people were talking about like their what you call them, erogenous zones and like stuff that they like to do, and they were experimenting and like all this stuff, and I just wasn't trying to do any of that. And anytime I got pulled into that, I was disgusted. And I wanted nothing to do with it, even though I was also going through the same thing with them. As like my hormones were spiking, my libido was up. I still experienced all of those things, but it was never directed at anybody. It was never something that I wanted to explore with anybody. I wanted to explore with myself. And you can argue that being in the South and being in a religious, area, that there was a lot of shame around it that could have been put on me, especially being a young black girl. And there's all those things. All those things intersect with each other. But even now, as I don't feel that religious shame anymore, because I've discovered I was an atheist as like a child. So stepping away from all of that, the purity culture, the shame around sex, I still don't. It's not like, oh my God, I don't feel ashamed anymore. Now I'm ready to have sex with people. That never happened. That never clicked for me. It wasn't, oh, I took this medication, now I want to have sex with people. That never clicked for me. Or it was never, I got drunk and now I'm okay with having sex with people. There are people who are like that, but that never happened to me. And so these are things that I explained to him about my upbringing, because I was like, you got to understand, when you're talking about intersectionality, it's not just 2 things. It's not just, oh, I'm black and I'm a woman. Boom. You know what I mean? That's not what it is. You have so many different identities that intersect with each other, and they all play a role in who you are as a person, whether it's something that you've had to fight against or it's something that you've accepted as a part of yourself. And it's not just being black and a woman. It's being black, it's being woman, it's being disabled, it's having trauma, it's being neurodivergent, it's growing up in a Bible Belt, it's, growing up in a hyper religious society. It's so many things. It's so many things. And it could have been, me having 3 older brothers. That all of that intersects with how I view sexuality. But even when you peel back those layers, the asexuality is still there for me. And a lot of people have not done the work of pulling that back. And so another thing that he talked about with me was, I brought up therapy, because he was like, what it helped you come to accept yourself as asexual? And I said it was therapy. It was finding the right therapist, because let's be real, like, we know them, it's a lot of people out there got them certifications and ain't got no business having them certifications, you know what I mean? But finding the right therapist who, one, accepts asexuality, even if they didn't understand it. My therapist didn't really understand it when we first met, my current one, but she came to understand it because her patients, her clients educated her. And so she learned more and more about it. And because she was open to that, we were able to have this conversation of, is this trauma? All my traumas. We got a timeline. We got the tree of trauma on the board. We know my traumas. We know my hangups. We know my issues with sex. We know the shame. We understand how Black women are treated. Like, we have all of this mapped out on the board here. Am I asexual, or am I a combination of those things? And she was like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure you're asexual. Even if we pulled those things back, you would still be asexual. I was like, oh, okay. And we had that conversation, and we explored those things. We explored those different intersections so that I can come to accept that this is what I actually am. Now, does that mean that I don't have trauma or that trauma can't influence it? No. I could absolutely be sex repulsed due to trauma. And I've said that over and over again. That can totally be a thing. But I'm not asexual because of trauma. And that's the difference that I wanted to point out for him. Another thing that he asked me about was community. Like, how did I feel about the asexual community? I said, we really don't have it. Most people of color get washed out in the broader asexual communities, and those are online communities. It's not really a lot of physical, like, in-person spaces. Like, you could try to go into some LGBT spaces, but it depends on whether or not they'd even be accepting of you in the first place. But when it comes to community, I told him most of it's online, and most of it is full of white people who drown out the voices of people of color. They do not want to hear people of color talk about racism. They are in denial about the fact that there is any racism in the community. If you try to bring it up, you're going to get shut down. You're going to get 2 options. You're going to get shut down by the people who are like, no, we asexuals don't discriminate against people because we know what it's like to be discriminated against. Therefore, we do not discriminate against people. So I don't know what you're talking about. You're going to have that group. And then you're going to have the other group that's going to be like, I'm white, and I just felt like I wanted to contribute my voice to this discussion where you specifically asked to talk to other people of color. And I just want to let you know that I've never seen any racism here. But if I would see some racism, I would be extremely disappointed and upset on your behalf. And I'm just so sorry and sad that you feel that way. You would get that as well. And all of it is invalidating, because again, you can have posts where they specifically ask for people of color, and you will have 15 comments of, I'm white. And it was like, we didn't ask you. We didn't ask you. But you get those. And then if you do have, face again. Face. I hate that this camera autofocuses. My next goal is to get a camera that does not autofocus. And then if you do have people of color who are outspoken, it's like a battle for your life. Like, it gets really, really heavy, and it's uncomfortable. And, and I told him, I was like, when you even search asexual, you're going to find you're going to find a lot of white AFAB people, because I don't know how non-binaries fit into that. You're going to find a lot of white AFAB people, or at least feminine presenting people. And then you might find a few white men. But it's mostly white people. The communities are mostly white people. And the people who are most popular on social media are mostly white people. Now that's not to say that there aren't people, asexual people of color out there, that they are asexual POC creators. There are asexual POC activists, but they're not popular. And the one that is popular, and I told him about Yasmin, gets a lot of shit. And like you could see in some of them comments that the issue is a little more than the fact that she's sexy. It's a little more than that. You can see it. You can see it. You can see how the asexual community responded to WAP. The issue, they said it was because WAP was sexual. It wasn't because WAP was sexual. You can tell about their responses to it that they had a disgust when it came to viewing Black female sexuality, or maybe Black sexuality in general. They were disgusted by Black female sexuality, or Black women's sexuality. I don't know how you say it, women as the adjective there, but the level of disgust they felt was not because something was sexual. Because I'm sex repulsed, and I was not disgusted by WAP. Now, did I want to watch it all the time? No. Was it porn for me? No. But there's plenty of stuff that white women do that are hypersexual, and I ain't see the community complain about none of it. None of it. So yeah, I took a bit of issue with the way that they responded to those things. But if you try to tell them that they're being a little spicy racist, a little problematic even, to soften the blow for their feelings, they would come for you so hard. How dare you insinuate that I'm racist? I have a Black friend. I have a Black daughter. I have a Black boyfriend. My stepmom is Black. Is none of it's related, but they will tell you all of that. I went to school with Black people. I've heard that one before. But there is a disgust there, and they will use asexuality as a way to broadcast that disgust, because they can't just be disgusted in private. And it's okay. If you're sex repulsed and seeing something sexual makes you just cringe internally, that's normal. But to go out on social media and to be like these loud voices saying the things that they are saying is not okay. And that stuff, when I watch it, I just be side-eyeing people. And I told him about that as well. And then, we had to talk about the definitions, right? The confusion in the community is a big issue. And I talked about some other videos, and I wanted to make sure that he included that some which way. Because when he asked me, what could we do to build community? I said, before we build anything, we need proper education. We need people to be properly educated about what it means to be asexual, what it means to be demisexual, what it means to be whatever other label you want to throw out there. We need proper education about that, because people are confused. And anytime someone tries to be like, this is this and this is this, and draw those lines, you get a lot of pushback. You get a lot of pushback, and you get told that you're being invalidating. You get told that you're being acephobic. You get told that you are gatekeeping and all of that, because you want to draw lines. And when you're drawing lines, it's not a good and bad line. It's literally just, here are the definitions. Do you fit this? No? Okay, let's see if you fit something else. But people don't want that. People want, I like the way that word sounds, so I'm going to use it even if I don't fit it. And I'm going to tell other people they fit this word even if they don't fit it, because I like that word. That's not how sexual orientations work. And so I had to explain to him, the experience of an asexual person who has never felt sexual attraction versus a demisexual person who, and again, I know some of y'all like to get in my comments and be like, I only felt it one time. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. You're a special case. I'm talking about the people who else felt it multiple times, who really feel it continuously and will admit to feeling it continuously, but still want to call themselves either demisexual or asexual. Those people, you're muddying the waters. An experience of someone who has never felt sexual attraction versus someone who has felt it frequently enough to even be able to describe it to the rest of us and feels it, I won't say all the time, but frequently. For some of them, that means they feel it once a week. They feel it on the weekends. I've seen people say they feel it whenever they're in a relationship, but they're always in a relationship and they ain't never not been in a relationship. So all the time, basically. That experience is different than the experience of somebody who has never felt sexual attraction ever. And it's okay to talk about that. It's okay to draw those lines of distinction, but people don't want to draw those lines because it feels gatekeeping. But in order for us to properly have education, we have to draw these lines. Because when we don't, everybody is just confused. I've seen people look at new micro labels and say, well, I'm confused now because I thought I was asexual, but now I might be polyam kia sexual because of this super specific thing that somebody wrote on the internet. And that's not how you form a community. You cannot form a community when you don't even know what that community stands for or what that community is. Now, I was gonna make an example that I thought was wild, but then I just remembered that one of my friends told me that people actually believe that. So now I have to make up another example. I'll use race because everybody seems to understand race, but nobody seems to understand sexuality anymore. You cannot have a group, and this group is specifically for Black women, and then have white men enter this group and say, well, I like to call myself a Black woman, so I should be admitted to your group, and you should include me. You should include, in fact, you should create a new label for white men who identify as Black women. And you can't say that I'm not a Black woman because that's transphobic. That wouldn't fly with anybody. You cannot say this group is for Black women, but then also include all of these other different races. You can't come in as a white man and say, well, technically we all came from Black women in Africa, right? So technically I am also a Black woman and I should be admitted to your group and I should gain access to your whatever resources that you guys have for each other. And you don't get to say that. And I'm not saying that I need to fight over resources, but I'm saying if you have a group that's for Black women and you as a Chinese American woman want to have a group where you can, connect with people who have a similar mindset, you can say, I'm Chinese American. I want to meet with other Chinese American women, and you have the right to have that group and form community with other Chinese American women. That is not to say that by you having a group for Chinese American women, you are now at odds or in competition with the group that is for Black women. That's not what that is. And that makes sense to people. But when you say that about sexuality, people get pissed off. Because you can have a group that is for asexual people who have never felt sexual attraction. And you can have a group that is for demisexual people who felt it frequently, often, sometimes, whatever the quantifiers you want to make for that group. And they do not have to be in direct competition with each other. Because they still would be groups of people who, for whatever reason, don't fit into the mainstream idea of sexuality. And they can still work together and recognize each other. They don't have to mush together. You don't have to, as a Chinese American woman, say, well, it's really hard to find community with Chinese American women, so I think you should let me and my 5 Chinese American women friends join your Black women group because it's not fair that you have a group, but I'm struggling to find my own group and create community. That would make no sense to anyone. People would be mad at them. Apply the same logic. And so I explained it to him, and he was asking me, he was like, yeah, I can see how, those would be different experiences for you that you would want to, highlight, and you wouldn't want one group to drown out the other group competing over the same space. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys, I'm trying. Okay, listen, I got to end a video right here. Video's way too freaking long. I ended up talking for an hour, a little bit over an hour. So I have to end a video here. And we're going to pick up next week with part 2 of the video. I know y'all like, Mina, you never do this. I'm trying my best, okay? With the time that I have and the stuff I'm going through, I'm trying my best to be more considerate of y'all when I just like end a video abruptly. So we're going to end the video here. And when we come back next week, we're going to finish the video. But like I always say, guys, take care of yourself because you deserve it. Drink your water, eat food, take naps. No one can live in this body but you. I know it's not fair, but you got to do the work to take care of you. I'm sorry. But enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I love you guys. Bye.